I'm not 100% sure. It's a little unfamiliar. I decided to take a risk and do it. Okay, 4 seconds in, I am fully live. So I I've just come back again from our morning walk, and it was beautifully cold and crisp. And I got thinking, as I do, because I've been talking with people as I do. And one of the things that has been coming up a lot in my conversations with friends here and around the globe is how lonely they're feeling, how lonely and disconnected. And I'm sure to anybody that's not going to be a surprise given what we're all doing at the moment and the way that the world is, for a number of reasons. Not, I don't think just because of what we've been asked to do in terms of the pandemic, but in terms of how our society's been going anyway. But this has certainly exaggerated it. So it got me thinking about something that I learnt, and I thought about this early when we were all ushered into our homes and didn't really know what was going on. It reminded me a little bit of being on a meditation retreat on Vipassana, and I thought about how I feel, what those experiences gave me, and what I learned. And one of the things that I was instructed to do by my favorite Buddhist teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, quite some time ago when I was staying in his retreat center, which is in France, was to think about, I asked him a question. So I asked him a question because I'd been practicing this type of meditation that he teaches for a while, not Vipassana, something else actually. And I'd been practicing for a while, and I wanted to practice with other people. I was like, I want to be connected with other people. How do I do it? Or how do I be connected with community? And he said to me, if any of you know him, Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist teacher, he kind of is a little bit like a Yoda character. He's this beautiful, small, soft, gentle Vietnamese man and shaves his head because he's a monk. And he turned and he was like, oh, you make a sangha. Sangha means community in the Buddhist context, by taking a walk in the morning, and you acknowledge the path that you're walking on, and you acknowledge the trees, and you acknowledge maybe the sun or the rain or whatever it is, the elements. You acknowledge the ant that's on the path next to you, and this is your sangha, this is your practice community. And then you become peaceful, and then your community attracts other people, and maybe somebody comes and you offer them a cup of tea, and in this way you build. And so I got thinking this morning, because I did, on my walk I felt very connected with the plants and the flowers, and I know that I don't know who is going to watch and who I'm going to be talking to, and we're very lucky in Perth, in Western Australia, where I live, that the impact of all of this has been relatively mild. So we are we're not locked completely inside. We can go out, we can take walks, and we can find this connection with community. So I wanted to talk about how viewing this time viewing it a little bit differently, practicing in it a little bit differently might be helpful if this is an experience that you're having, if you're experiencing really strongly. And of course, this might not work for everyone, and I don't know the circumstances and what's available, but hopefully it might be helpful and applicable for some of you. That if you're feeling that loneliness and there isn't that capacity to connect with another human being, and let's face it, like, we are biological creatures, that we are designed through our survival instinct to turn towards each other, to be physically with each other, to be connected. And the circumstances we're living in at the moment is making that harder and harder and harder. So we don't know when that's going to end. We don't know what's going to happen. So how do we, one, fulfill that need for a sense of community and connection right now? And how do we, two, stay strong, because I'm a believer, you know, we'll figure it out. Please come. Eventually, and we'll come out. And if we can use this time to practice this way of cultivating community so that that need is met and strengthen ourselves, we might have the opportunity to come out the other side stronger and build that better, more connected collective. That's my belief and my hope. And so I wanted to offer these tools to people who are finding it's a bit hard at the moment, you know, because naturally they're desiring human connection and more human connection, and that's totally understandable. And maybe just simply not possible right now because of a number of different circumstances going on. So my suggestion is that, one, if you can alter the thinking that this is a retreat, if you can treat this like a retreat. So the whole idea of a retreat, and Thich Nhat Hanh is my favorite teacher because he even talks about being in retreat and strengthening your spiritual practice, whatever you want to call that, is in service of being able to go back out into the community and to be able to help. And he was talking about that in the context of the Vietnam War. He said, I can't sit up on this mountaintop seeking transcendence and enlightenment while that's happening, while my brothers and sisters are dying. And so he used these tools in order to generate more peace internally, to strengthen internally, to teach others how to strengthen internally, that they could show up. And they went out and they rebuilt schools and orphanages and villages and fed people and did all of these various things. So one is to, I think, understand that times of, I want to use a different word than isolation. Yeah, so retreat. Times of retreat can be used, again, if we bring intention to it, if we bring intention to this time, this retreat, retraction, this potentially having to turn more inward and be more with ourselves can be a useful tool for becoming a stronger individual that can contribute to a better society, a better collective, a better whole. So if we understand it that way, rather than being in the panic of disconnection, then that's one thing. The second thing is that while we're in retreat, we need to learn how to practice feeling connected and how to create community out of what is there. And I've already kind of given away the punchline earlier when I talked about this very direct advice that was given to me, which I'm using, and I pass on to you. And it does require, I will say, it requires the capacity to slow down and be present. So it may sound a bit woo-woo and ridiculous to some, but it's definitely a thing that if you are feeling very present, very in the moment, you can have a connection with a dog in the street, or, and I'm sure many people have experienced this, or an ant, or a magpie, or a tree, or a beautiful rose, even with the intention of the person that has cultivated that garden that you're looking at. There's a way of feeling, you know, if you have that capacity to go outside, it's really the most easy way, I think. And if not, then it's going to have to be things and presences that are inside with you. So I hope that this is helpful. It's just a little Sunday morning musing that I wanted to share with you after being out alone with my natural urban, I'll call it natural urban Sangha, the community of beings that I got to connect with. And in that connection and in the discipline of practicing this way, to strengthen my own capacity to stay in resilience. Because, like I said earlier, I believe if we do this, we can come out and we can create something. We have the opportunity, the possibility to create something better in the future, but not if during all of this we collapse. So let me know if you can apply any of this to your circumstances, if any of it is helpful for you or not. And I wish you a beautiful evening, afternoon, morning, day, wherever you are, and take care.